So, hello everybody, and it's time for, the alternative history of World 2. I got to, okay. So this is the map. So I think we're going to begin with, oh, actually I gotta do some redrawing real quick. So this is actually the world now. So what we're going to begin with is the decolonization of Africa. So we're going to begin with France. So France's colonies in Africa are starting to fall to rebellions. So basically, so I probably should use a different color. So starting with the rebellion of Togo. I mean, Benin. This is Benin. The British control Togo. The French would crush the revolt, but semi-autonomy laws are passed. Also, so the state of Israel was created. On the map, this would have been Palestine, since Palestine controlled Israel at the time. So I think, so right now I think we're going to duplicate this layer and let's do some alliances. So right now, Britain, France, Northern Italy, all German nations, Poland, Ukraine, New Turkey, the US, China, India, Japan, and Korea as well as Moscow and Siberia are, and Australia. Okay. Yeah, that's alright. I'm actually kind of lazy, so a lot of the island. So nations in the blue are in the So nations in blue are under. Okay, so nations in the blue are under American sphere of influence. Nations in the red are under British sphere of influence. Not how. Wait. I'm gonna have to mute my mic. My parents are gonna leave. My parents are gonna dox. My parents are gonna dox me. Oh no. Oh no, my parents are gonna dox me. Because they've done that several times. Because they need me to do stuff. Often they keep accidentally doxing me. And that's. Also, the US still controls the Philippines here, though, so India is under British sphere of influence, so is northern Burma and West Thailand. China is under American sphere of influence. I mean, the states in the Urals and Central Asia and northern Afghanistan are under British sphere of influence, as well as all of their African colonies, including all of Belgium's colonies. Also Portugal, Sardinia, and Sicily. Malta, Cyprus, and Greece, and Jordan, and Israel is under American sphere of influence, and Iraq and Kuwait are. So, and the nations in the yellow are under French sphere of influence. Owen? So I think, this German nation, Prussia, East Prussia would be under French influence. Same with northern Italy. Italy and Naples. Transylvania, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, the Ukraine, and Russia. Also, the Netherlands and Sweden. Actually, the Netherlands and Finland. And parts of Libya. The US has minimal influence in Africa. The US has minimal influence in Africa, only having Liberia and Ethiopia and Eritrea. The erase tool. Yeah, France has Madagascar. Also this is British. So it's basically just Britain and France, as every nation in Africa is a colony, so it has, or under a sphere of influence, so it has to pick sides. Oman, the UAE, Qatar. The Caucasus, Saudi Arabia. This is the alliance map. I'm making the alliance map. So I guess this would be the city. Also, Indonesia is under French influence. Why? Because Portugal controlled East Timor, so that would be under British influence. Oh, no, I colored all the ocean red. The British Empire struck back. This is like, I think nearly every country in the Americas picking sides. Though the Americans kind of have a monopoly over the Americas. The colonial powers a monopoly over Africa, and the US, East Asia, France for Europe, the Pacific, kind of a match between all three. Hello? Yeah, I think, because it's... Also, we have to do Europe. Which one? Oh, bed click. Boom. Boom, boom. The Swiss are not happy. They're just not picking a side. Also, this is US aligned. Yeah, same with Bulgaria. Denmark. And Norway is aligned to the Brits. That are Brits. This would also mean the US. The US also has Greenland and Iceland. Also, so the first major event is the reunification of Saka. So, firstly, Stalin still keeps power in the Caucasus, in this Caucasus nation. So, the effect of red is British sphere of influence, yellow is French influence, and blue is US influence. So let's begin with Stalin invading. So Stalin invades Ukraine. Now, France does not declare war yet. Because they thought that the Ukrainians would repel Stalin, but the new Soviet military was advancing like never before. The new Soviet military was better than the Ukrainian one, so they're going to steamroll. So they're kind of steamrolling through Ukraine. Russia, the new Soviet state invades Crimea. Basically, the new Soviet state claims the controversially claims that it is the Soviet Union, which is a name people haven't heard since World War II, which was like 5 years ago at this point, so maybe like 10-ish. Because the Allies collapsed in 1947-ish. So, Stalin encircles a massive amount of Ukrainian troops. And also, yeah, they occupy Stalingrad, which is like right here. Because I wanted for Stalin to stay in power in the Caucasus just for this. I could stream a Russia. This kind of is a Russia versus Ukraine in a way. It's the new Soviet state versus, Ukraine. After the fall of Kiev, Ukraine capitulates. So, Stalin annexes Ukraine. This alarm. His next the next conquest was Moscow. But this time, a couple countries helped them. Also East Prussia, too. Most of Stalin's army would be over here. So they would ultimately choose to push into Romania. I guess East Prussia had a revolution or something. I guess East Prussia had a revolution. Who should join the Soviet side for a bit. So the invasion of Transylvania was an embarrassment. To the Soviet state. because they were ultimately pushed back out of Transylvania. A major Stalin mounts a desperate invasion into the state of Russia. But it was already. But it was too late. The invasion had begun. The Americans decided to capitalize on this, joining the war to take Crimea. Turkey invades Crimea. Now, the French were actually fine with the French allies were fine with American allies pushing in because it would help take care of the threat faster. Stalin is unable to make a successful counterattack. Hack against the approaching French allies. A new invasion is planned and then begins into Soviet territory. Stalin is overthrown and a military dictatorship is installed. The military dictatorship chooses to attack the French, which again does not work. So, Belarus and Moldova invade the new Soviet state, hoping to gain land. So the capital is like Rostov-on-Don something. So the military dictatorship. So people start advocating for democracy as political unrest starts to massively grow. Little music is playing. So a pro-democracy revolt begins. As several of these revolts pop up. That's a smiley face. As the revolts are more loyal to the revolts prefer the Americans rather than the Americans and the French rather than the newly invading countries. But they're like anything to weaken the new Soviet state. Because Stalin's fall from power, the collapse of Stalin's regime in the Caucasus, in the new Soviet state, hate official was quick. As a massive encirclement, the Americans continue. So, the British wanted to get involved, but they couldn't. As Parliament as none of the countries aligned to them really wanted to join in on the conflict. Moldova and Belarus have reached far down. The collapse. So the new Soviet state had fallen, and in its ashes, the Republic of Northern Caucasia would soon form. Because we have to drop the peace treaty first, of course. Now the Americans would march through the heartland. So now the Americans in the new rebellion would march through the heartland of the new Soviet state. Actually, this one. The new Soviet state surrendered, and this is the map now. So let's draw this peace treaty. The alliance map is gonna be out of date until I make a new one. Or actually, we're not making a new one. This war, though not as deadly as World War II, had over like 1.5 million deaths. Likely one of the highest. So Belarus gets land from here. The Russian Federation takes some territory. Same with the Ural state. I mean, this would actually, it's the Republic of Russia. Azerbaijan would get some territory. They didn't really want all that much. The new Crimean state was created. Slovakia took a bit of land. So this is the new borders. So let's draw up this peace treaty. Clicked. Okay, so this, so basically this was the situation of this Ural state takes a bit of territory. So the Republic of Northern Caucasia was actually a quite weak state. But here's the map. Before, after, before, after, before, after. I will redraw the alliance map. Layers, layer properties. Opacity like 121 is probably good. Okay, so... So... Updating the Alliance map is fun. Because it wastes time. I could just duplicate that. So... so yeah, this, so I think, so yeah, so, so minor properties, 255. So we get a so we get a new state in Ukraine, which will join the French influence. Now, Britain sought to shake things. Now, Britain sought new. So, Britain convinced Belarus and Moldova to join their side. In return for defense guarantees. This was the new map of the world. So, the West Russian War, I guess, as you could call it. Totally not a TNO reference. Was oh, I have to do that too, so after the war, the number one Caucasian power, number one power in Eastern Europe was Russia. The Russian Federation. Oh, crap. So, this is what the world looked like. Now we have... So, this was... The maps are nearly exactly the same. So, on paper... not really much changed on the map. I mean, no, a lot of stuff changed on the map. As well as on the Alliance map, too. Because Britain is stronger in Eastern Europe. So, the unification of Russia was also kind of bound to happen here, because each one of these nations here wants to unify Russia, because, except for, like, Siberia, the two Ural states are planning to unify, increasing their strength, 10th overall, and China conducts a swift invasion into Tibet, backed by the Americans because they want to get rid of them through British and with this event, the First Cold War had officially begun. I do not know why the songs lined up perfectly with my speech right there, but they just did. Like, so. Now India would have declared war because of such a daring act, but Britain denied that because they did not want to start another war. And boom, okay, maybe not that. So the leaders of each nation are, for the United States, Franklin Roosevelt still died in around the 40s, and Truman still inherited the office. He oversaw the West Russian War, and he was one of the main reasons why we got involved in there. he is currently president after being re-elected in 1952, who in a landslide because America and France kicked butt. Basically, so he won against So Harry Truman in 1952 won re-election against Robert Taft. The UK, United Kingdom, is led by Winston Churchill, who has led the UK ever since the war ended. I mean, ever since World War II, ever since 1940, and has been trying to increase the British standing on the world stage. In 1952, hold up, what's this for? So in 1952, I guess like 1955, the fighting between, I guess the Southeast Asian War began, which is basically Vietnam, but engulfed more but drew more countries into the fight. Now, Britain chose to side against the U.S. British colonies chose to side against the U.S. Also, the Philippines was granted independence. So they're siding with the U.S. here. So President Truman ordered the deployment of allowed volunteers to get into Southeast Asia. The first offensive began with South Burma ultimately falling and capitulating, which was a huge blow. So both sides used amounts of cluster bombing. Also, yeah, the U.S. is on the side of the North in this timeline. Wow. The Philippines conducted Philippines conducted an invasion in the south, and then Saigon fell. And then a massive push began. But the French and British combined conducted an invasion into Laos. Of course, China will probably get involved soon. So yeah, this is this is nationalist China, I suppose. West Thailand. The invasion of West Thailand began as Filipino forces drove through southern Thailand. And then they died in a truck. No, okay, no, I'm not. Anyways, yeah, so several amounts of cluster bombing are still used as both sides do this to obliterate the enemy. The amount of bombs dropped is uncountable. Probably even more than in our timeline. So a second invasion of southern Thailand is planned. And then the invasion of northern Vietnam began. But then China got involved. And then the British got pushed back again. So unrest and political instability really start in northern Burma. As northern Burma falls into a bloody civil war. So this bloody civil war. This bloody civil war. And so the U.S. supported this rebellion. And then the British sent forces mainly to help deal with the rebellion. But they also pushed back. So, President Truman decided to not run in 1956, which led to led to William Noland winning the election. Also, Clement also the Prime Minister of the UK. Also, Winston Churchill is dead, so Anthony Eden replaces him. So, yeah, that's now a thing. So, the fall of northern Burma was in full swing, as the Chinese under Chiang Kai-shek gave aid to these rebels. As these rebels were more friendly to their ideal. Also, democracy may have been implemented in China. Though it wouldn't be, and it would likely be around this time. So as Burma falls, as the government of Burma surrenders to the rebellion, Burma officially switches sides. And oh crap, I keep misclicking. Anyways, so the war is paused. The war is paused as another problem engulfs Europe. Yugoslavia would fall into a civil war. as a communist rebellion emerged, and a democratic one. Separatist movements in Macedonia. And an expansion, a very aggressive expansionist government, and separatists in Croatia. So the Yugoslav Civil War was would be a bloody conflict. Mainly because Bulgaria wanted land and invaded Yugoslavia. Because they... Okay, I gotta end the stream here, so,